You couldn't be around Elvis Presley without being changed. He possessed a force, a gravity, that drew people in. Linda Thompson knew him like few others ever did. She lived the whirlwind, the chaos, the quiet moments. Now, after decades of silence, she's finally speaking. Prepare to hear a story the world has only glimpsed. This is love, loss, and the truth about the king. She was young, barely into her 20s, but she carried a wisdom beyond her years. A Southern girl, fresh from winning beauty pageants. Little did she know her life was about to explode. A chance invitation, a movie screening after midnight. Elvis was there, but not the Elvis the world knew. He was tired, burdened, carrying the weight of fame. But when he looked at her, something shifted. An instant connection, a spark that ignited a flame. They talked for hours, oblivious to the world outside. He confided in her, sharing his deepest fears and pains. She listened, truly listened, without judgment or pretense. She saw the man behind, the legend, the soul behind the crown. He saw in her a genuine kindness he desperately craved. The next day, she found herself at Graceland's gates, the world-famous mansion, now her new reality. Music, laughter, and a constant stream of people. But beneath the surface, a storm was brewing. She became his girlfriend, his confidant, his protector. Life with Elvis was a roller coaster of highs and lows. They decorated rooms together, shared, late-night talks. But she also witnessed his struggles, his demons. He battled insomnia, haunted by nightmares and anxieties. She stayed up with him, offering comfort and solace. She saw his growing reliance on prescription drugs, a desperate attempt to cope with the pressure. She didn't judge. She didn't leave. She stayed. Through hospital visits and sleepless nights. Those closest to him believed she was saving him, that her love was extending his life. He showered her with nicknames, called her his best woman. But love alone couldn't conquer his inner turmoil. Moments of joy, dancing barefoot in the living room, always shadowed by an underlying sadness. She was loyal, devoted, but her own dreams were fading. Graceland, once magical, now felt like a gilded cage. She was pouring everything into him, neglecting herself. A quiet voice inside her asking when it would be her turn. A painful crossroads. Stay and lose herself completely? Or leave the man she loved and reclaim her own life? It wasn't an easy decision, a battle between heart and soul, a quiet goodbye, a step into the unknown. The love story began with passion, ended bittersweet. Even after, the connection lingered, a bond unbroken. Her choice to leave was about survival, not betrayal. She needed to breathe, to grow, to find her own peace. She had been his light in the darkness, his anchor in the storm. But she deserved her own sunlight, her own calm. She watched him battle exhaustion, both physical and mental. His moods shifted, unpredictable and unsettling. She pleaded with him to rest, to get healthy, to break free. But his promises faded, like whispers in the wind. She saw him slipping away, the vibrant man she loved, vanishing. Still, she held on, believing her love could make a difference. She longed for a steady life, a family, a quiet home. Dreams that felt impossible within his chaotic world. And there was another truth, a painful betrayal. He wasn't always faithful, other women in the picture. These wounds were too deep, the future she wanted, unattainable. It wasn't anger that drove her away, but quiet acceptance. By 1976, the decision was made. The path was clear. His health was failing, his body breaking down. She saw the warning signs, the imminent danger. She couldn't bear the thought of becoming a widow so young. Leaving was heartbreaking, but necessary for her own survival. No drama, no accusations, just quiet, tearful goodbyes. She packed her bags, kissed him gently, promised to always be there. A promise she meant, a love that wouldn't simply disappear. In the years that followed, she faced judgment and misunderstanding. Accusations of chasing fame, finding another man, being unable to handle his life. But she never defended herself, never sold their story. Their love was too sacred for cheap headlines. Maybe she wasn't ready to speak, or maybe she had made a promise. The call she could never forget, the plea in the night. Months after she left, he reached out, his voice barely recognizable. The charm, the energy, the spark, all extinguished. He was tired, fragile, unsure, his defenses shattered. He confessed she was the only one who had ever truly cared. His words pierced her, memories flooding back. The countless nights she stayed up with him, the small acts of care. Easing his pain, calming his storms, she had truly cared. He felt alone, believing no one else could understand him. Had her leaving helped him, or hurt him even more? She feared he wasn't healing, but slipping further away. She worried about him, his eating, his resting, his breathing. She knew his rhythms, his habits, his unspoken needs. She turned to Charlie Hodge, his friend, for updates, checking on him, ensuring he was okay, grasping at reassurance. One Friday night, days before his death, a wave of worry washed over her. She called Graceland, asking Charlie to check on him. He said Elvis was fine, but she couldn't shake the feeling that he was slipping away, beyond her reach, beyond saving. That late-night call was the last time she tried to reach him. Days later, the call she always dreaded finally came. Lisa Marie, just 9 years old, sobbing uncontrollably. Her father was gone. The news struck her like lightning. The worry, the fears, the helplessness, all became reality. He was found collapsed in the bathroom, too late to save him. August 16, 1977. The man she loved was gone forever. The weight of memories, the what-ifs, crushed her soul. The world waited for her to speak, the vultures circling. But she refused to profit from his death, to exploit their love. She remained silent, protecting the dignity he had left. Respect for him, for his family, for the sacred bond they shared. She kept their moments locked away, treasures untouchable. She watched others tell their stories, some true, some twisted. She disliked the portrayals of a troubled celebrity, a fading star. She knew the real man, the kindness, the charm, the struggles. Her silence became his shield, protecting his truth from the noise. She wasn't silent because she didn't care, but because she cared too much. Years passed, the pain dulled, but the memories remained vivid. Losing Elvis was a personal loss, a wound that never fully healed. She needed time to grieve, to understand, to find her own peace. But did she eventually share her side of the story? Almost 40 years after his death, she finally broke her silence. Her memoir, A Little Thing Called Life, revealed her truth. Not to create gossip, but to honor a man she deeply loved. To show the world the real person behind the legend. Her words were gentle, powerful, honest, and tender. She didn't paint him as perfect, but as a flawed human being. She reminded readers of his dreams, his faults, his struggles. She knew Elvis in a way few ever could, lived in his world. She saw the larger-than-life performer and the private man, the one who laughed at silly jokes, who lit up a room with his presence. She described him as generous, warm, and full of charm. He loved giving, not to show off, but to bring joy to others. She spoke of his sensitive nature, his vulnerability. He felt things intensely, loved with his whole heart. But she didn't shy away from his struggles, his self-destructive habits. She understood the pressures of fame, the loneliness, the endless demands. Life with Elvis was a fairy tale, with moments of magic. But shadows crept in, the joy faded, the cage closed in. She stayed as long as she could, then stepped away, heartbroken. Their connection didn't end, even after their romance faded. She believed he truly loved her. That bond remained strong. She had always tried to give him love, comfort, and understanding. Her memoir stood out for its honesty, kindness, and enduring love. She showed the light and the dark, the laughter and the pain. She gave a complete picture of Elvis, not as an icon, but as a human. His story became richer, his humanity shining through. She gave a rare glimpse into sharing a life with someone so famous. The constant movement, the unusual hours, the thrill, the challenges. Quiet moments at home, bursts of laughter on the road, sweet gestures. Even in difficult times, there was no bitterness, only love. She understood that being Elvis Presley was never easy. The world adored him, but demanded more than he could give. By sharing her story, she deepened his legacy, gave him back his humanness. The charm, the flaws, the joy, the struggle, all side by side. He was a man who loved, who stumbled, who needed connection. He left an unforgettable mark on those who knew him best. The real magic of Elvis Presley wasn't just in his music. It was in the humanity that made him who he was. After leaving Elvis, Linda Thompson began putting her life back together. Lessons learned from loving him, quietly woven into her journey. She found her way back into the spotlight as a performer and songwriter. Her most personal path was in music, expressing her deepest feelings. She co-wrote "I Have Nothing" with David Foster, sung by Whitney Houston. Lyrics about longing and vulnerability, reflecting her love for Elvis. Her personal life took new turns, marriages, and children. Each relationship brought new lessons about love and life. But none compared to what she had with Elvis, her first great love. That kind of love never really leaves you.